Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Coming at you with the next excerpt from my first novel in my series, Black and White Odyssey of Eden, where I left off. So let's have at this. Why was this his first memory? He did not know. But there it was. His father was encouraging him with a loving smile on his face. There were no words at this point in his life that had any meaning to him. Only emotions. Only people. Only faces. He remembered the feeling of being loved, of solitude in his young mind, but companionship in his manifestations of the reality around him. The rest of the first 18 months of his life faded away in a blur of disorder and learning. A side effect of his extremely high level of intelligence was that he was a very early talker, speaking in full sentences by the age of 2, and able to infer context and structure. This was the thread of his life, and it maintained its substance no matter how many times he would relive it. He was always one of the smartest people to have ever lived, always ever inquisitive, always with a depth indiscernible by most. As the words began to develop meaning to him, he steadily grew memories of his surroundings, of the thoughts and beliefs of the people in his life, their desires, their fears, their passions, their goals. When these first thoughts came to his mind, he remembered that there was something he needed to do, that humanity was suffering, and he needed to find a way to stop it. When he was 3, he asked his mother, "Mom, why isn't God here with us?" As he sat on her bed talking with her passionately, she was stunned at his asking such a deep question at such a young age. Among all other aspects that remained from one iteration of his life to another, one thing above all else never remained the same: his name. Every time he had a different name, even names that sometimes made no sense. In one of his lives, he had been known as Bumblebee, and was brutally antagonized throughout his time in grade school. Though the children that went to school with him were usually too scared to approach him, too scared that he might read their minds, they had another tool at their disposal, one that was far more painful and far easier to implement: ostracism. Any interaction that his classmates did have with him was rarely cordial, usually resulting in them staring at him stupidly. It was for this reason that he often resigned himself to solitude, sitting on the wall of a hallway just outside in the open air where he was required to play. He always understood the exact words to say, the exact things to do, to diffuse the tension of a situation with his classmates, but his classmates rarely did. So they didn't know, even though he did. He had such a deep ability to peer into their actions, could see so many consequences, so many different paths that they might take, that if he ever mentioned them to his classmates, they would become silent. He could see the decisions they would make before they had even thought of them. This usually terrified the other children. He was always the most brilliant person in any of his peer groups, by a large margin, but it was not a brilliance necessarily of industriousness, ingenuity, and technological know-how. Those things came to him through dogged determination and a strong interest as he grew older. His brilliance was interpersonal. This gift was, however, a curse in a world tragically bereft of interpersonal understanding. It led him to eat more than he needed as a means of satisfying his desire to feel good. At the age of 10, he was a plump 140 pounds, 4 foot 10 inches tall. He sat in the same hallway that he knew so well the past 2 years, watching the dozens of children run around in the park. Sorry, my dog's kind of messing around. Some climbing on the monkey bars, Beyond was a dew-covered field of green grass. It was just before springtime, and the temperature was beginning to build to the crescendo that transformed into nature's rebirth. Suddenly, an idea came to the scientist, who was at this time known as James. Alright, that's it for this section. I will come at you with the next one later. Love y'all. Peace.